We're taking a look at the Raijintek Aeneas case, and this is a mini ITX case and a micro ATX case. Stick around if you want to find out more, because we're going to strip this right down to the bare necessities for your total enjoyment. So far, stripping this whole case down to the bare minimum, the features are really great for what this case entails. Now, it is quite a fat looking case, but it's, I don't know, it's like short and stocky. It's quite funny, but I like it because of the features that it comes with it. You can obviously do water cooling, you can fit a 140mm fan, you could probably put a 240mm fan in the front of the case alone. And it's got grills that take away the dust from your build so it doesn't get dusty and keeps it in working orderly fashion without overheating and stuff like that. You can put a 240mm rad in the top of the actual case. You can put a mixture of 140 to 120 and 240 or 260mm fan in, around the case. Well, actually just one fan in the front, which is the biggest fan. It does actually compensate really well. The way that this looks like it's made, it looks like when you put the motherboard in and you've got the graphics card in there and stuff, you get total cool clean air coming from the actual case, pulled in from the front of the case, straight over the graphics card, straight over the motherboard and straight out the back, which is super really cool because it's like really close to everything. And it's, you know, like with mini like cases, you have this problem of cable management and stuff like that. This doesn't have this problem. You can actually have perfect cable management with this case. At the back as well, when you can put in 2.5-inch solid state hard drives, you can put 4 of them in, or you can put 3.5-inch normal mechanical hard drives in, or 2.5 mechanical hard drives as well, and it looks really nice and tidy. And at the back, the cables will run through, routed through the actual back, and it will, like near the power supply, if you've got the perfect power supply, which I'm using the ATX Edge power supply, and that fits in there perfectly. It doesn't go overlaps or anything like that. 750 watts of this sort of build is perfect, especially for a graphics card as well on that sort of motherboards. All I can say is it's really perfect at the moment. And let's just keep going. Let's go with the perfect stuff. I'll talk about my conclusion afterwards and what I actually think about it. But taking it straight out of the box, that's what you're greeted with straight away. The motherboard is removable tray, which is super handy when you can think when you're trying to work in such a small space with cable management and keeping it tidy. And the reason why you need to have cable management, just to let people know that don't know about cable management, is to make sure the computer can breathe. If it breathes, that means that you can overclock, do water cooling and stuff like that, obviously, and that means it'll breathe better. That means you can up the voltage and the temperature will obviously go up on the inside the case, as well as the CPU and the graphics card. So if the temperature's going up hot and hotter, your cable management needs to be great, because getting cold air in from outside and exhausting it out, the cables need to be tidied so there's enough room to do all that sort of stuff. If the cables are everywhere, then it won't breathe properly and it'll be moving around like waves and stuff rather than coming straight in as a clean run. So that is why you need to have clean cable management. Now this supports cable management inside really well in such a nice case. Also features an LED on the front as well, and the grill on the front there, which obviously for your dust, it's got a dust filter on the top here, which is easy to remove. Everything is quite easy to remove, but what I like mostly is a removable tray that you can actually take the tray out, work on it outside, place the motherboard on the top there and make sure that everything works. If it doesn't, you can take it all out and it's straight away. It's so easy. Now if the motherboard tray wasn't easy to remove, this would be very difficult and you'd have to have extremely small hands to work into it. But you can still work in it kind of in there, but you got to imagine if you've got a big air cooler that's cooling a CPU cooler, and then you've got RAM and you've got a graphics card and you've got cables everywhere, it's going to make it very difficult. So having a removable tray is super great. And it's not that you don't have an easy way to remove the tray, because it comes with thumb screws and it supports it. They've actually thought out the box, so you've got all the thumb screws to support it. So if it's really heavy, it's got enough thumb screws there to support it. They haven't skimped on the thumb screws and it's easy just to get out straight away. Now, also on the top, you've got featuring USB 3, which is up to 5 gigabits per second. You've got USB 2, and it's backwards compatible to 1.1 USB and USB 2. You've got a power button, you've got a reset button, you've got a 3.5mm headphone jack, and you've got a microphone input as well. So it's all on the top, meaning if you've got it on the front, it makes it a bit difficult when you're trying to get your cables in the front. But at the top, it's just more cleaner and nicer and brings it away, and it's just easy that you can see what you're doing. So on the front, you obviously see on the front of the case, you will see that you can actually put a CD, DVD drive in the actual front there. And that is a good feature if you're still into CDs and DVDs. And you can remove the tray completely and actually put the fan there with more clearance if you're putting a bigger fan on the front. So you can remove the tray if you're not using CD or DVD, and plus if you're water cooling, you definitely need to move it anyway because the radiator will take up the space. Now let's talk about what I don't like about it. What I don't like about it is the window is a funny off colour. It's like an orange or red colour, and it should be clear. It should be up to you what you want, and if it's clear, that means when you're doing some RGB lighting inside your actual build, you're going to want it to be able to see what you're looking at. Now this looks like a sun visor or something, like it's coated, and you won't be able to see your build properly, and it will look funny. So I don't like what they've done there. Couple of tips that you could have used as well for Raijintek is that the radiator could have been built on top, or not built on top, it could have been placed on the top of the actual filter on the top, and it would have been able to have the fans screwed underneath the bottom inside the case, and then the radiator will be all on its lonesome at the top, and that means that you would have more clearance just by using an extra half of a centimetre at the top, and you'll be able to fit the radiator in there no problem, and then put fans in there. But I can see what you've done there as well, because then you won't have the option of turning it into push and pull, or you want to just you want to exhaust the heat out or take cold air in from the top. So technically it's okay, but you could have worked a little bit more, because obviously on top of the roof of the case, it's got like a bump, which means that you could definitely put a 240mm rad in there no problem. Now you can easily put a 120mm fan in there, or 140 rad if they've got one, and that could go on the back there no problem. It is really, really comfortable. Now I do like, there is a tip how you get the power supply in. So instead of trying to put it in at an angle, you actually have to tip it a little bit, about 5 degrees, and then you slide it in straight away and it fit in there no problem. The link in the description will be how big the power supply that I'm using for this case and how to get it in there, so you can actually go and get different manufacturers if you want, but you'll just go by that power supply. Any bigger you're gonna have a problem. Graphics card goes up to 31 centimeters. Can't get any bigger than that, it's going to get in the way of things and it will cause problems. So don't go any bigger than 31 centimeters in length in the graphics card. Another thing that could be done by Rajintek is that they could like these new sort of things that I like to see with cases, I like to see them involve. You could have added a PCI extender, so you can put the graphics card and it shows off the graphics card and you build at the same time, and hide away some nicer cables. Good things to note about Raijintek's case, the Aeneas case, is that all the cable sleeving is nice except for one, and that's the USB 2. Now technically USB 2 is for the front header at the top, and you can obviously have USB 2 at the back on a motherboard, and USB 3 and Type C and etc, etc. But you can hide away that, but all the cables are nicely sleeved and black, and it makes the build look totally clean and tidy. And I just like the fact that they've got all the cables. Another thing I don't like about the Raijintek fans that they've used, they use Molex. I hate Molex. They're a pain in the arse, and I just prefer like nice SATA connectors, or 4-pin or 3-pin headers for the fans, and that would be a lot more easier and less space that it takes up with Molex, because Molex is quite thick and it's just annoying. It takes quite a long time. So you're wondering what the quality is like. All this good stuff and bad stuff, what is the quality like? Well, the quality like is really quite good. I can't really justify how good it is. You have to see it for yourself, but how much weight that can go in this little baby right here, and you know it's not going to twist. The chassis won't twist. It feels really sturdy. Everything's easy, like toolless to come apart. I can show you little tips and tricks in a minute of how to do things. Oh, another thing I don't like is when, it might be just my case, but there was glue that was a bit like streaky, and if you've got a really expensive build, you don't want to have the problems of doing all of that. You want all the hot glue to be completely mess free. So on the front of the actual where you can put a big fan on and stuff in front of the case, that's where it had a bit of messy glue on, and it also had messy glue at the top. Now I don't like to have messy glue at all, even though it's hidden. It needs to be all cleaned up and no stringy bits at all. And that means that, from my point of view, that should have been dealt with straight away, because the whole build and the whole case itself is near enough 9 out of 10. But when it's got bits of glue and stuff all over the place, you feel that the quality is going down a bit. But the quality is there, there's no doubt about it. It's a very strong case. They've thought about it. They've listened. They do listen to people out there and make things better. And I do like the way that they kept the price down by doing stuff. But what they've done is still kept they kept the quality. But just like things like that, they haven't kept the quality with. You just need to get rid of that bit of glue, you know. Like there's little bits here where it should have been stuck down and everything all nice and tidy. If you're going to make a build and you're going to make it all cable management tidy and you've got expensive components, you expect to see from a manufacturer that you're buying from. So that is like one problem that I don't like. Another problem is that the case where you can put the 3.5 inch drives and 2.5 inch solid state drives, or mechanical 2.5 inch drives, is that at the bottom it's pop riveted. If it was actually just like some screws at the bottom and screwed to the bottom, this case would get 10 out of 10, no problem, because you could remove the actual the tower. That's, well, obviously it holds up the motherboard tray as well, but you can remove it and then you can do some really tidy cable management and then replace it back in, and then this thing will be completely toolless. Now it's not hard to take things apart in this case or anything like that, and I really do like it. So if I was to give this case to an enthusiast, they could go absolutely crazy with it and do loads of stuff with it. It's a really nice case, quite fat and chunky, but it's chunky enough where you can get all your components in there. You get decent power supply in there, even though Silverstone do one of the smallest power supplies out there now, and it will be easily be able to fit in there, and you'll have the wattage to run your graphics card and your hard drives and pumps and stuff like that. Well, this case is just really nice. It's really solid. It's got rubber feet at the bottom so it won't scrape your desk. You can have it on the floor or on the desk, depending on however you want, your own preferences. Things that I like about this case. Now, there's more things I like about this case than what I don't like about the case. Now, you've got removable filter at the top, so if you've got your rad at the top there, you can easily remove it and easily clean it. That's how simple it is. The front is exactly the same. You can remove that. Obviously, I'm going to show you some tips and tricks of how to get it out without breaking your nails and your fingers at the same time and scraping that for your skin. But yeah, I do like the idea. They've really thought about how to do things, and even they've added grommets for water cooling if you're going to do externally outside the case, and they've thought about it inside, which has got enough room. Right, some other stuff that I like about the case. I like that it's got all thumb screws, removable motherboard tray, and that you can fit in enough drives that you can do video editing with, or gaming, or anything that you want in the computer for everyday work, whatever. And it's got enough space to do cable management, no problem, and it all looks like the case will breathe really well. It's got enough room for a graphics card, which is quite beefy if you are gaming, and if you are going to be doing video editing, you've got a big enough graphics card. Memory's cooled in there. I like the fact that you can take the CD drive, the CD and the DVD and the Blu-ray drive out, and you can actually remove it and then put like water cooling in there and stuff like that. It's a bit of a shame if you want to do water cooling and have that at the same time, but why not just buy an external hard drive? I know probably some people are like, oh, I've got the hole there, why can't I just put one in and it's all in one? Well, manufacturers try to help everyone, but they can't help everyone, and it's all to your own different preferences. So technically, just a note that you can't have both. So yeah, would I recommend this case? Without a doubt, yes, I would recommend this case. The price is very good for what you're getting. It's got loads of functionality, and it makes your life a lot easier that you can remove the tray. And what I'm trying to say is, like, if you're building a computer and you want to build it outside the case to test all test all the components, make sure they work, you can do that, and then you can place it back in and connect everything up and it's running fine. Or you can do the water cooling, but you can also have a really pretty build inside and stuff, and yeah, you can just make sure that everything's all okay because you've got a removable motherboard tray. And if you forget to put the bracket on, you can easily put the bracket on, no problem, and put it all back into the system. It's, to be honest with you, I would give it 10 out of 10, but I can't give it 10 out of 10 for there's certain things I don't like, but it's my own preferences and maybe other people's preferences as well. But I would definitely give this case 9 out of 10, no problem. It is an easy case to work with. If you're an enthusiast, you're going to be able to build and wrap this case and spray paint it and do all kinds of funky stuff with it, and you can get the Dremel out and do stuff. Now if you're just starting up, this will be a brilliant case to start up with as well, because it's so easy and it's toolless, and if you make a mistake you don't have to go in and you have to be careful about breaking cables and stuff because you're new to the game. This is for everyone. It's an all-rounder, and I'll definitely give it hands down 9 out of 10, so it's definitely worth a purchase. I'm going to leave a link in the description down below of all the sizes, of the power supply and how much space that you've got, just to make it easy. And I'm also going to do a blog on it as well, because I think this case is definitely worth having a read up of other specifications with this case. And if I've forgotten anything in this video, it will definitely be on my website, which will be in the link in the description down below. So don't forget, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like it, dislike it if you dislike it, leave a comment, let me know, and I'll see you in the next one with more up-to-date videos. See you in the next one. See ya.